can't tell you how many times I wanted to run up to you and beg you please to tell me the truth.
Why didn't you?
I was afraid.
Of me?
Yes. I didn't know what you would do. And I didn't want to risk my marriage and lose everything I had.
Just as I didn't want to lose everything that I had. Including you.
Well, tell me. Tell me the story. How did you become Schuyler Whitney?
Well, it was one of those golden opportunities, something that happens once in a lifetime. It was the chance to become everything I'd always wanted to be.
You always wanted to be Schuyler Whitney?
No. I despised the original. He was a sheltered, greedy, pompous, self-important child. Oh, but he had one marvelous attribute, Raven. He had money. He had great stacks of money. Huge pyramids of money. Enormous skyscrapers of money. The man was as rich as Croesus.
You wanted to live his life?
No. I wanted to live my life. Jeff Brown's life in here.
And in the study?
Yes. It's very perceptive of you. I wanted someplace where, well, Jeff Brown could really live, where he could relax. That's why I had pictures of friends, old letters, my high school yearbook, things like that inside. Links with my past. No, it was tough to give up that place for this one. I remember the first time I saw it.
Where?
Switzerland. Sky was there for 3 months. We had time to kill. We had a lot in common. We were the same age, same height, same general build. We both loved to ski. And we both loved to live like millionaires. But you see, there was a significant difference. You see, he really was a millionaire many times over. And Jeff Brown was a pauper.
So you became his friend?
He had 3 months to kill waiting for all of that inheritance to land in his lap. He told me about it the first day I met him. Not that he was lacking for funds at the time. I mean, he had enough money to rent the entire chalet. Jeff Brown couldn't even afford a single room.
So how did you manage it?
There was only one way that a man like Schuyler Whitney could make friends. He had to buy them.
There you are, little boy. Why don't you take this and pay that nasty man his room rent so we can get out of this mausoleum?
Sure. Where did you want to go?
Well, some friends who've got a chateau with a heated swimming pool. And I'd like to go check out the bathing suits the ladies are wearing this year. I hear they're positively scandalous.
Sounds good to me.
I know one cute little blonde I'd like to invite from the hotel.
Which one is that?
Her name is Valerie. Valerie Bryson.
So you did know that little twerp in Switzerland?
No, Sky knew her. She was a very attractive young girl, and Sky felt that every attractive young girl belonged to him.
But of course you weren't interested.
No, I was curious about her. There was a guest who was staying there who got drunk one night who said that her father was the best friend the underworld ever had.
Her father was a crook.
Not a crook. A fine surgeon. A man who could change your appearance and never once ask about your motivation.
For the right price.
I told Sky about the rumor, but he wasn't interested in it. The only thing he was interested in was in Dr. Kenneth Bryson's daughter.
But of course, the rumor was important to you.
No. Not until the plane crash. Not until Sky decided it'd be a lot of fun to rent a plane and go over the Alps into Zurich. He wasn't half the pilot that he thought he was. We hit a snowstorm. Downdrifted hundreds of feet, and we must have hit the top of a tree or something along. Sky. Oh my God, he's dead. He's dead. He was dead, really. But I was only bruised. And I got out of there just in time before the snowstorm carried the wreckage of the plane and his body into a mountain crevice.
Oh, my God.
I took everything with me that I could carry, including his money belt. That man actually wore a money belt. Do you know how much money he carried around with him? He had almost $100,000 in large bills.
How did you stay alive?
I think it was the money that kept me alive. I mean, I couldn't eat it, but it did keep me warm. And then I searched around until I found an empty Swiss guide's cabin. And I stayed there I don't know how many days trying to think of what I was going to do next. And then I got my idea. I knew what my next stop was going to be. It would be Lucerne, in the clinic of Dr. Bryson. Yes, that's right. I was wearing bandages when I arrived at the clinic. I didn't want anyone to recognize Jeff Brown. So I became Lieutenant James Diedrichson, war hero.
That's who Dr. Bryson believed you were.
Dr. Bryson never asked me one single question. Oh, no, that's not entirely true. He did ask me how much I could pay. And I told him that money was no object, as long as I got a new face. This face.
Obviously, you had a picture of the real Sky.
Yeah, I had a few, including that famous picture by the swimming pool that has changed our lives so much.
So you went through all of this for...
For what? 30, 40, $50 million. I mean, I didn't even know the extent of poor Sky's fortune, but I did know that if I could pull this off, I would be a very wealthy man for the rest of my life. No, that's right. I wasn't a dead ringer for Sky, but people who knew me slightly would never know the difference. Especially after the plane crash.
Of course. They would all figure it was from the accident.
That's right. So even little scars that were left from the operation, they could be easily explained away. But the most important thing was that the people who knew Sky well, I mean the people here in Monticello, hadn't seen him in 14 years. And he only had one living relative, one dear old aunt.
Geraldine. And you fooled her.
You bet I fooled her, just as I fooled all those bankers and the lawyers. You know, I'd be surprised how well people treat you when you've got money, Raven. It may be the single most important attribute of wealth. And I knew if I could fool Geraldine, I would have it made. I'd be Skylar Whitney for the rest of my life.
If she only knew.
And dear old Sky, he loved to talk about his aunt and her remarkable family. And then again, she was a very public person. I had no trouble finding out anything I needed to know. There were one or two faux pas.
Like what?
Well, like when I first told Geraldine that I was going to buy the mansion, I said, you know, and I could hardly remember what it was like. She reminded me that I had never set foot in it. But it was only a minor matter. It didn't make her alarmed.
And you got away with it.
Yes, I did. And you know, after the first couple of weeks, it was no longer a masquerade. I mean, I really began to feel like Sky Whitney.
Does he haunt you? I mean, do you think about him out there in the snow?
Or even he was dead. I mean, he was dead out there, dead and buried, and I was alive. Can you think what a waste this would have been? I mean, all this, all the Whitney millions. I mean, most of it would have gone to the government. And he was dead as a mackerel. Oh, no. I couldn't let all this estate remain untouched by human hands. I mean, let it go to the government to build highways or ballistic missiles or something. I mean, how could I do that?
You couldn't! And you didn't, and you did the right thing, and I love you! You're wonderful! And we are going to take the world for a ride. Don't answer it.
Hello?
Is this Mr. Whitney? This is Miles Cavanaugh.
Oh, Dr. Cavanaugh. Yes, we've been waiting to hear from you.
I'm calling from Monticello General. Your aunt insisted that I contact you to let you know that she was all right.
Oh, thank God for that. We were very worried about it. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about it.
Yes, well, she suffered a concussion, so she's going to be under observation for a few days, but she should be as good as new. Look, hold on for a second, will you? Look, I don't want you doing any talking. Now, I'm filling in your nephew on your condition, as I promised.
I want to talk to him, Miles.
It's not a good idea, but all right. No more than 2 minutes.
Skylar, how are you?
Oh, Geraldine, well, I'm fine. I'm a little shaken up, I guess. But the important thing is, how are you?
Well, my dear, I have a monumental headache. But Miles assures me that I'll be back to normal in a few days. Now, what about Raven? Is she all right?
Oh, yeah, well, she's fine. She's worried sick about you, that's all.
Is she there?
Sitting by my side?
Put her on, dear.
Mrs. Whitney, it is our Auntie Geraldine.
Geraldine, it is so good to hear your voice.
Yeah. I appreciate your concern, Raven. It's nice to know that you're thinking of me.
When I came out of the bedroom and down the stairs and saw you lying there, I thought that he had killed you.
When I regained consciousness, my first thought was that he might have done away with you.
Well, I'm glad we were both wrong, aren't you? I guess I should let you just rest.
Yes, I'm really very tired. I have the feeling when I finally do close my eyes, I'm going to sleep for the next 2 days.
Well, if that's what it takes to make you better, then that's what you should do.
I'm afraid I have to get off the phone, Raven. It's the doctor's orders.
Well, all right. Look, I'll come see you tomorrow and rest well, and I love you.
Goodbye, dear.
Bye-bye.
Raven, I'm sorry to cut your conversation short. We got to let Geraldine get some rest.
Okay, well, how is she? Is she all right?
Yeah, the prognosis is very good.
Good. Look, if there's anything I can do, you just let me know.
Well, once she's released from the hospital, she'll need some tender, loving care, but right now we're keeping an eye on her.
Well, you make sure that whatever she wants, she gets.
All right, suppose I just put a note at the top of her chart saying only the best for this lady. She means a lot to me, too, you know.
Good. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Miles. I just wanted Raven to know that I was all right.
Well, now that I've done something for you, I expect you to return the favor. I want you to lie back. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to let sleep come.
I'm afraid I'm not in any condition to do anything but to comply.
Is there anybody else you want me to notify? I'll do that for you.
No, there's no one else, Miles. Just as long as Skylar and Raven know, I have no other family.
Geraldine, considering all the people who care about you, you're the biggest family in Monticello.
Well, look who's here at long last.
I know I'm late. I'm terribly sorry. I hope Mr. and Mrs. Whitney aren't furious with me.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Whitney are still upstairs in their room fast asleep. You know, they had a rough night here last night.
I do know. What happened was absolutely awful. When my mother read the headlines in this morning's paper, she nearly fainted. She didn't want me to come back here. That's why I was so late.
Oh?
Doesn't look any different. Except for your mess.
Well, there are no reminders of what happened here because I took the time to put the place back in shape while you had the morning off. Only I didn't do a very good job of getting the bloodstains out.
Bloodstains?
Yeah, you're standing right on them. Why don't you see what you can do about that? First thing.
Me?
Sure. Try club soda. I heard somewhere that just might get the job done.
All right. I'll do my best.
Oh, listen, I want you to keep yourself available. I think the police are going to want to talk to you.
The police? What for?
Well, you got to admit that it's very interesting that the house gets robbed on your first night off.
That was just a coincidence. I'm glad I wasn't here.
Hey, look, you're standing on the bloodstains again. You know, someone just might get the idea that you were in cahoots with that burglar.
That's crazy. How can you even think such a thing?
Oh, come on, Chrissy. You can tell me.
Of course I wasn't. Well, Mr. Whitney didn't seem to mind that I took the night off.
What did you say?
When I asked him if I could take last night off instead of my regular day, he said it was okay. In fact, he insisted on it.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, that's enough, Kelly.
I'm really glad that you felt well enough to see me, Geraldine.
No one I'd rather see.
Good. In that case, I can report back to Mike and Nancy and all the concerned people at WMON that you're looking just fine and you'll be out of here in no time.
I'm fortunate it wasn't worse.
You know, I couldn't believe it when I turned on the radio this morning to get the weather. Heard this news bulletin about an attempted burglary at the Whitney Mansion, and the fact that you were injured. You know, I was so stunned I shaved twice.
I'm grateful for your concern, Kelly, but I'm going to be just fine.
You know, if I hadn't come to the studio last night, you never would have gone to the Whitney Mansion.
My dear, if you hadn't come to this studio when you did, I might have spent the whole night in that office trying to solve those budget problems.
I guess I'm just feeling bad seeing you laid up like this.
Well, for the record, I absolve you of all guilt. How's that?
Good. I'd still say, though, that it was a pretty high price to pay to have the luxury of breakfast in bed.
Hello, Geraldine.
Hi, hello, Kelly.
Chief Mallory?
The nurse on the floor said it'd be all right if I came by and talked to you a bit if you were feeling like it, but I didn't know you had company. Would you rather I came back later?
No, it's quite all right.
I'm on my way out anyway. Nice seeing you.
So long, Kelly.
Okay. Feel better.
I don't suppose I was really hiding these from you.
Oh, Derek, they're lovely. Thank you.
I spoke to Miles a little earlier. He said you're going to be just fine. I'm awfully relieved to hear that.
Yes. May I assume that your visit is something more than an expression of sympathy?
Geraldine, you're too smart for me. Yeah, I do have a couple of questions of an official nature.
Dear, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. You may know that I was struck from behind, and I never saw his face.
No, I realize that, but a homicide was committed last night. I've got to get statements from everybody, you understand?
I must say I was somewhat surprised that Schuyler had the presence of mind and the courage to take the action he did.
He saved Raven's life, I know.
Yes, and I'm very proud of him.
Well, look, there are a few points that you could help me on.
Well, I certainly cooperate in any way I can. What would you like to know?
Well, the first is it occurred to me that it was awfully late for just a social visit last night. Why did you stop by the Whitney house?
Well, it's a very simple reason, really. I was concerned about Raven. It can be very unsettling being in that house alone. I know from experience how empty it can feel.
I don't think you have to worry about Schuyler leaving Raven alone again.
My dear, I will permit it. I'm very proud of what Schuyler did. But I have every intention of giving him a very strong lecture about leaving Raven in that house alone.
Listen, you. Look, put me through to Mr. Weston right away.
Yes, Johnny, what is it? Huh? No, I've never heard of the man before. Well, no, I'll take it, yes. Okay. This is Robert Weston. May I help you?
Yes, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Mr. Weston. My name is Gunther Wagner.
Well, I'm very pleased to talk to you, Mr. Wagner, but in case you'd like to place an order, I think maybe I'd better connect.
No, I want to talk with you, Mr. Weston.
Oh? What company did you say you were with?
Well, I'm not affiliated with any company. I'm Mr. Schuyler Whitney's executive secretary, and I'm calling on his behalf.
Mr. Whitney, well, yes, of course, certainly.
Yes, well, I'm calling in reference to a meeting that you were to have with him this morning.
You are? Mr. Wagner, would you hold on for just 1 second, please? Thank you. Never forget something like that. Mr. Wagner, I'm afraid there's been some mistake.
What do you mean?
Well, I was just going through my desk calendar, and I didn't have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Whitney this morning.
Are you sure, Mr. Weston?
Oh, I'm positive. Perhaps you just got your signals crossed, huh?
Now, you are Robert Weston, manager of Northern Machine Tool?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, I'm Robert Weston, all right, yes.
Huh. Well, let me get this straight. Now, you had no plans to meet with Mr. Whitney at all today?
Mr. Wagner, in all the years I've been running this plant, I've never had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Whitney, even though he does own the company. No.
Well, thank you, Mr. Weston. I'm very sorry to have bothered you. Have a nice day.
That's perfectly all right, Mr. Wagner. Thank you very much. Same to you.
Well, hello there, Colonel. Sit down. What can I do for you?
Oh, a beer would be nice.
One tall, cold one coming right up.
You knew my old pal, Romeo, didn't you?
Well, I know a lot of people, buddy.
Well, listen, Larry Morgan told me that this place was Romeo's second home. I mean, I know he wasn't exactly a wallflower, so I figured you two might be acquainted.
You know Larry, huh?
Yeah, we've had some good times together.
Hey, any friend of Larry's is a friend of... Yeah, Romeo used to like this place, all right. See that table over there, number 4? That used to be his favorite. He used to sit there for hours just checking all those beautiful chicks. He was some operator, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he must have been some good customer. I'll bet you're very sorry he's been off to...
Buddy, I could take Slade or leave her. Now, what I'm mourning is the $50 bill that he ran up before he got blown away. I don't think he mentioned me in his will.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. Just to prove how good of buddies that Romeo and I was, I'm going to take care of his tab for him.
That's very, very generous, my friend. Very generous. Thank you.
You know, my pal Romeo may be dead, but I don't want him to check out of this world like some kind of deadbeat.
Hey, buddy, anytime you would like to open up an account here, all you got to do is say the word.
Yeah, listen, I just might do that. You know, I heard that Romeo had a lot of good pals here, like Sammy Wheaton.
Well, yes, Sammy used to show his face around here from time to time. When he wasn't doing time from one of his penny ante scams, that is.
You know this guy?
Nah, that guy's a stranger.
No. Take a good, long look. Huh?
Yeah, but I'm not good at remembering faces. Hey, come to think of it. This guy does look familiar.
Then you think he's been in here?
No. But Romeo did have a little confab at number 4 the other night. And this dude was wearing dark glasses, and I think it could have been him.
Dark glasses?
Yeah. Hey, I got to run down and get some booze there. Why don't you stay right here? When I come back, I'm going to freshen that up for you on the house. How does that grab you, huh?
Hey, listen, thanks a lot, huh?
Oh, man, it's nothing.
Yeah. I'll just bet you were the guy, Mr. Whitney. Yeah, you were Romeo's friend, all right.
One thing, now I know exactly how you felt when you were in that house at Oakdale and Molly Sherwood was after you. Raven, listen, the only thing I really don't understand is why? Well, why was this guy after you? I mean, wasn't he just the, God, no, this may sound crass, but just the regular garden variety type burglar?
Oh, well, that's what he started out as, but then Geraldine showed up at the door and he had to hit her over the head, and I think he thought he killed her.
I think that's the part that shocks me the most, that Geraldine was hurt.
Well, obviously she wasn't hurt as badly as he thought. Because I think he thought that since he killed one person, he might as well kill 2.
Do you think he felt he had to kill you so you couldn't identify him?
And he would have, too. And then Sky showed up and shot him. And I think I need some more wine.
Oh, wait, let me get it for you.
Nope. Stay right where you are, little mother. I can do it.
Oh.
The person I actually feel sorry for is Sky, though, because, he can't believe he actually killed somebody. I think he deserves a medal. But all the police want to do is ask him questions.
That's only to be expected.
The thing that I remember the most is when he stood there in the doorway with that shotgun in his arm. He looked like some kind of an avenging angel.
An avenging angel with a double-barrel shotgun, huh?
Oof, but He knew there was something wrong in the house. He sensed it. Doesn't that tell you something? What, he's got ESP or something? Something. I think maybe we're soulmates. He knew that there was something wrong in the house, and he came back. That makes me feel wonderful. You know, you look pretty good, too. No, I mean, you look sort of radiant. Oh, well, I'm a little high. No, come on. I mean, after that awful experience last night. Oh, but that's what I'm trying to say. It was exciting. Because it proved to me that Sky was more than I thought. I mean, he's much different than the man I thought I married.
Mr. Whitney, I see you finally got your little private room all locked up without my help. Nobody will know your little secrets now. Is that what happened to Raven? Did she learn your secrets? Is that why your brand new wife had to die? Well, now let's just find out what you're hiding inside this room, Mr. Whitney. Change that lock, Mr. Whitney. I didn't think you want that ugly old padlock there.
If I had wanted the lock changed, I would have asked you to change it, Gunther.
Well, you know me, Mr. Whitney. I like to do things without you telling me. That's called, taking the initiative.
Sometimes you take too much initiative, Gunther.
I want to earn my money, you know.
If you're so interested in the padlock, what were you doing inside there?
Oh, I thought I'd just clean it up a little bit.
That looks quite neat to me.
Yes, sir. It sure looks neat. Whatever happened to all that stuff, if you don't mind my asking?
I do mind. Now, please leave.
What about the lock, Mr. Whitney?
Don't worry about it. There isn't going to be any lock.
What do you mean?
Well, it's my study, Gunther. It's not a secret hiding place. The only reason I had it locked up before was, because things were so disorganized inside. Now things are very organized.
So, no lock, huh?
I'm glad that you understand. Now, I'm going to take a little nap. Don't disturb me unless it's unavoidable.
Yes, sir. Oh, any particular time you want me to wake you, sir?
Yes. Wake me in about an hour.
Yes, sir. Your lordship. What did he do with all that stuff?
Get back sooner than I expected.
Yeah. I came straight from the TV studio.
How'd the interview go?
There wasn't any interview.
Why not? They changed the schedule or something?
Yes. The schedule's been changed. Especially my schedule.
What are you talking about?
I'm not opening next week. I'm not going out on that stage or any other stage until I'm ready for it.
Is it definite now? You sure this is what you want to do?
Yes. This time, I really mean it. And it doesn't matter if Sky Whitney is furious. It doesn't matter if I disappoint some people. I can't lie to myself anymore. I'm a good dancer. I know I am. But I'm not a great dancer. And I'm not worthy of getting up in front of all those other good dancers and pretending I'm better than they are.
And you don't think of yourself as a quitter now? Jody?
I'm trying to be honest, right? I am a quitter.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
No, that doesn't mean that there aren't times when it isn't right to quit. And I've reached my time.
Jody, this job was forced down your throat by Sky Whitney. He didn't care if you couldn't handle the load. He couldn't care less if it killed you.
Well, that's just about what it was doing. Killing me. You know, I think by the time I got out on that stage, the only role I could play would be the dying swan.
Come here. Come here. It's going to be all right.
Gavin, I'm never going to get another chance like this.
Sure you are, sure you are. You'll get your chance, and without all this pressure.
No, I won't. Scott won't let me dance in the chorus. I know he won't.
No, he'll never do that. His famous pride won't allow it. He's paid too much money to introduce you as the dynamic new star.
He's going to be very angry.
Yeah? He's going to try to change your mind again, just like last time.
Well, he can't. It's too late.
You're darn right, and you're not going to do this by yourself.
I can't let you do it for me. I told you that once.
And you failed once, too, remember? He put his arm around you and sweet-talked you. And then he threatened me to make sure that I wouldn't encourage him.
What did you say?
Nothing. The point is that you just have to do it right.
Did you say Whitney threatened you?
Jody, no, it's just words.
Just words? Was it just words when he sent Gunther and those men to break your leg?
Forget it, Jody, huh? All he did was try to bluff me. I'm not afraid of him.
Well, I am. I'm afraid of him, and I'm afraid of Gunther.
Well, the police are keeping their eye on Gunther. You can be sure of that. And he's not going to dare try anything overt. I promise you. The only thing we have to be afraid of is keeping our nerve. We've got to stick up for what we believe.
Do you believe in me?
Oh, of course I do. You know I do. As a person and a performer. You're a great dancer. You'll be even greater.
Why is it you always make me feel so much better?
I'm going with you, Jody.
No, it's all right. I can handle this. I really think I can.
All right. Just be careful.
I just wish you could be as happy as I am. Even after that nightmare of last night, I'm so happy. I can tell.
Obviously, Sky made quite an impression on you last night, Raven. I just hope it isn't because... Well, it isn't because he shot a man.
Well, let's face it. Not every woman has a man who will kill for her.
Well, that's true enough.
But that's not really it. I'm just discovering what a deep and complex person my husband is.
Well, now, did you make this discovery in one night?
You might say that.
Yeah? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Mrs. Timmons baked a cake. I think she made it just especially for you, so that if I don't offer it to you, she'll be very hurt. If you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. Of course. Can I tempt you?
Yes.
Mrs. Timmons would be very hurt if you didn't have any. I just hope it's not too rich for you.
Nothing is too rich for me. You ought to know that.
Well. Couldn't stay away from me, huh?
I'd like to see Mr. Whitney, please.
Well, come on in. I'm afraid that Mr. Whitney is not available at the moment.
I happen to know that he's home. I called earlier and spoke to the maid.
Well, I didn't say he wasn't home, honey. Only that he's indisposed.
And just what does that mean?
Oh, he's taking a nap.
Oh, well, then I'll come back later.
Well, relax, honey. He'll be downstairs in just a few minutes.
I'd still prefer to come back later.
Well, I would prefer that you stay. See, I'm getting a little bored with myself. It's nice to have company.
I didn't come to keep you company. And I warn you, Gunther, if you make the slightest move towards me or say anything I don't like, I'm going to scream this house down and make sure you're fired from this nice job.
Well, what makes you think that I would do anything so foolish? Don't you realize that I was just joking with you those other times? It was simply a misunderstanding, Jody.
It's Miss Travis to you.
Yes, of course, Miss Travis. See, I was only fooling around, that's all. I didn't mean you any harm.
You know, you're lucky. Very lucky I didn't call the police about you, Gunther, the night that you picked me up in Mr. Whitney's car.
Well, yes, I admit that I did get a little carried away with myself. But you see, I had had a little bit too much to drink. But don't worry. Because you see, these days, I'm only drinking coffee. Can I give you some?
No, thank you.
You know, I'm very sad about that night. I only wish there was some way that I could make it up to you. Say, you know what? I'll bet you like concerts and stuff like that, don't you?
Please. Look, I'm getting tired of waiting. I'll come back later.
Hey, you know what? Mr. Whitney, sometimes he gives me free passes to concerts, operas, plays. Listen. Won't you please let me take you to something some night?
No. Would you please get out of my way?
Well, you are really something, aren't you, Miss Travis? What can I do to get through to you, huh? I try it rough, now I try it smooth, and you don't bend even just a little bit. How can I get you to like me, huh?
There's no way, Gunther.
No, there isn't, huh? Oh, you know, you would be so surprised at how many ways there are.
I told you, if you come any closer, I'll scream, I swear.
Well, go ahead and scream, Miss Travis. It's time for Mr. Whitney got up.
Gunther! Gunther! Crazy, Gunther. What do you think you're doing?
That's the second time you've asked me that question, Mr. Whitney. It's starting to sound like a broken record.
Would you tell him to let me go?
Take your hands off her.
Did you know that this little girl likes to be called Miss Travis?
Let go of her, Gunther.
Okay, boss. Now, look what you just went and done, Mr. Whitney. You scared her off.
No, are you going crazy, Gunther, or what?
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Whitney. It was just a little friendly fooling around, huh?
Gunther, I told you to stay away from that girl, and now I come down here and I find you in my own house. I ought to fire you for that.
No, you wouldn't fire me, Mr. Whitney. You need me too much. I mean, let's face it. Who would drive you around in your car, mix your drinks for you, beat people up for you? Speaking of drinks, you know, this coffee is really not doing too much for me.
Put that down.
Well, you're sure in the mood for giving orders, aren't you?
I told you to put that decanter down. That's my best whiskey, Gunther.
Well, now, you certainly would like for me to have the best, wouldn't you, Mr. Whitney?
All right, that's it. You're fired. Get your stuff and get out of here inside of an hour. And if you are not gone inside of an hour, I will arrange to have you thrown out.
Oh, this is so good. And I just would love to drink this stuff all the time.
Did you hear what I said? I said get out!
No, I'm not, and I can't go. You see, Mr. Whitney, Mrs. Whitney, she wouldn't like it.
Mrs. Whitney would be delighted to have you disappear.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that Mrs. Whitney would not like the truth.
What truth?
About what happened here last night. You see, I think it would come as a terrible shock for Mrs. Whitney to find out that you hired the man to kill her.
Now I know you're insane.
Yeah, I should have known that that quick little trip to Chicago was a phony. Because you always let me handle all of your business appointments, only this one time, you handled it yourself.
It came up in the last minute. That's the reason I handled it myself.
No, Mr. Whitney, no. This was no last-minute details. No, you've been working on this for some time to get both of us out of the house and to get Chrissy out, too.
The only one I want out of this house is you. Permanently.
There was no business appointment, was there? Save your breath. I already called him. What's his name? Weston. The manager of your Chicago office. Now, he told me that he didn't have an appointment with you. He said he had no idea that you were even coming.
I didn't make the appointment with Weston. I made it with someone else.
No, there was an appointment, all right. Right here. Between Mrs. Whitney and Romeo Slade. And I know all about Slade. Not only do they call him Romeo, but they also call him a lady killer. He's no housebreaker. No, that's not his specialty. But you know what his specialty is, or was.
Right. That's it, Gunther. You won't leave under your own power, I'll have the police throw you.
Well, I got a little tip for you, Mr. Whitney. The next time you go hiring a killer, I don't think that dark glasses will be enough of a disguise. Well, don't look so scared, Mr. Whitney. Everything's gonna be okay. Why don't you join me in a drink here? As you say, this sure is good whiskey.
Not probably the day after tomorrow, Nancy, but definitely the day after tomorrow. Now, I have made that very clear to Dr. Stewart.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say the obvious. You should not prescribe for yourself.
Oh, my dear, I'm perfectly fine. The only real damage was to my dignity.
Oh, nothing could destroy that.
Well, I must tell you, I certainly felt a lot better when finally I opened my eyes and saw this room filled with flowers.
Oh, yes. I heard about the barrage of flowers that hit Monticello, General. The floor nurse told me that every room on this floor has a bouquet originally intended for Geraldine Whitney.
These arrived this morning. They're from Kelly. That was sweet of him, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. That was very thoughtful of him. Do you know he feels somewhat responsible for your being injured?
Oh, that's nonsense. He came by to help me, and I left early, that's all.
Well, if you hadn't left early, you wouldn't have wound up here.
And if I were not here, I would probably be in a budget meeting. Quite frankly, I think I prefer this.
All right.
Come in.
Ladies?
Oh,
hello, Nancy. How are you? Mrs. Saxon. These are for you.
Why, how lovely. Thank you so much.
Would you like me to see if the floor nurse has a vase for them?
Thank you, dear.
Oh, Nancy, I didn't mean to chase you away.
No, I was on my way out anyway. I'm meeting Mike for dinner. Geraldine, I'll see you when you're back at the house. Bye-bye, Gal.
Have a good time.
Thank you. Damien, my goodness, hello.
Well, hello, Nancy.
Are you here to see Mrs. Saxon?
No, I really don't want to bother her. Actually, I'm off duty, and I was going to go out to dinner, but I thought I'd walk Calvin over here first to make sure Mrs. Saxon is all right.
Oh, yes, she's doing fine.
Oh, great. I'm really glad to hear. Well, it's good to see you again. Give my regards to your husband.
All right, I'll do that. Would you, by any chance, care to join us for dinner?
I thought it would save us some time if I brought your statement here for you to sign. That way I don't have to disturb you when you get home.
Well, it isn't a very lengthy report, is it?
Well, no.
Not very informative either.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
I'm sorry, Calvin, but what I've said here is all I can remember. I simply went there to spend the evening with Raven.
You've heard, I suppose, what happened to Mr. Romeo Slade.
Yes, I did. And I have no doubt that Schuyler is still feeling the effects of what he did. To say nothing of Raven. Have you seen them today?
No. As a matter of fact, I really don't think it'll be necessary for the police to disturb them any further. As far as we're concerned, this case is closed.
You know, I really can't figure it out, Mr. Whitney. Why you would want to bump off your sexy little bride so soon after the honeymoon. Was she that bad?
God only knows why I'm standing here listening to this.
Yeah, well, I know all about these things. Take my first wife, please. I mean, she was really something else. She was as sweet as sugar when anyone else was around, but bitter as poison when we were alone. You know, she wrapped herself all around my bank account. I mean, she had me put everything in her name. She walked off with the whole bundle as soon as she had a chance. You know something, Mr. Whitney? If I had known Romeo Slade then, I might have been tempted to slip him a few bucks for a first-class job myself. Only I'll bet it cost you more than just a few bucks, huh?
For your information, Gunther, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Yeah, well, you just keep saying that, Mr. Whitney. Now, take my second girl, Roxanne. We weren't married, thank God. No, I had enough sense not to give her a piece of paper. Although, that's sort of what agitated her, till I had to put her in an institution.
All right, that's it. I've listened to enough of your garbage. If you want to tell this ridiculous story to my wife, you go right ahead. She won't believe a word of it.
And what about the cops? Think I could convince them?
The cops? All right, you want to talk to the cops? Here, you talk to the cops. I'm sure that they'd be very interested in hearing about you and Jody Travis.
No, Mr. Whitney, you don't want to call the cops. You don't want them here any more than I do. They'd be too interested in hearing what I have to say. But you've been seen all around town with the same man that tried to rob you, the man that you blew away with a shotgun.
Are you claiming to have seen me with this man?
No, not personally. But I do have friends, people that I know. Would you like to know the name of the place where you met? Pretty crummy place. Exotic dancers, things like that. Romeo didn't have any taste, but then neither did you, if you don't mind my saying so.
This is just a bluff, Gunther. You just happen to have found out where this man, Slade, has been spending his time. It doesn't mean a thing.
Well, even if I didn't see you there, Mr. Whitney, an awful lot of...